Sorry? Yep, you're going to find a partner. You're going to think of something that you can say and repeat again at various times during the lesson. So it might be once a jolly swagman. It might be three blind mice. For those of you for whom English is not your mother tongue, you might choose something that you know in your mother tongue. But just a short something that's easy for you. You don't have to think about the words, you just know to say it. So in your pairs, would you, one at a time, figure out who's going first, say your little piece as you did yesterday. Just listen to yourself, listen to the person who's with you, get a reference of what does it sound like at the moment. Okay? Say. Try up the back, Cassandra's there. Okay, if you've said your piece, swap. This is just a practice for you to get a reference, to make sure you're familiar with the piece. A short verse. A short verse, a couple of sentences. About the length of a nursery rhyme. Yeah, Australians don't know the national anthem anymore. Okay, have you both had a chance to say your little poem or whatever it is? Probably 2 or 3 sentences, enough that you've got time to hear the tone and tempo and rhythm of your voice. Okay, and when you're done, please go to your mat. And you could stay standing on your mat when you're ready. No, you don't need to be together at the moment. You'll find each other again later. And just as you stand there, could you open your mouth and make the lowest sound that comes out? And try again, see if you can make it lower or deeper. Just get a sense of what that sounds like. And then with your mouth shut, so that the air's coming out of your nose, can you make the lowest sound you know how to make? It probably sound more like a hum. Okay, and could you change where you're looking? So as you keep making that low sound, try looking up, look down, look ahead. And just notice what difference does that make to the quality of the sound. And then would you lie on your mat, please, on your back? In a moment, I'll ask you to take a breath, and as you exhale through your nose, could you please count out loud? Now, that will be totally unintelligible. It'll be a little bit like what you just did with the tone, but have some volume. Count with your mouth closed. Notice how long does it take you to run out of air. And then take another breath and count again. Do it a few times, get a sense of what's the kind of average breath length. Okay, and just let it go. It's time. Could you please close off your right nostril? So you probably need to rest your finger on the outside of your nose. Just the single low tone that you made when you were standing up. Just a couple of times try it lying down. Notice how does it sound lying down with one nostril shut off. Do it for a couple of breaths. Notice, is there variation from one breath to another, or is it a fairly constant sensation and tone and sound? Okay, and then swap nostrils. Low tone, mouth closed. Humming through half your nose. Does one side sound different to the other? And if you can't remember, just go back and forth a little bit, check. This may happen. We're going to be vibrating your sinuses somewhat through the lesson, so if you need to find a handkerchief, feel free. So if you could choose the side that produces sound less effectively or less easily, and we'll begin to play with that side. So just come back to that low tone through the nostril that doesn't know quite so well how to make a noise. What can you do to vary the sound? Vary. Do you do anything different with the shape of your face? Do you do anything different with the tension in your jaw? Do you look in a different place? If you wanted to make the tone in this nostril more like the tone in the other one, what would you do? It seems to be working. There are more flies buzzing around the room than a moment ago. Maybe just go back to the other side, see if it's any closer to what that one does. Go back to the one you were playing with, see if you can refine it a little further. And then take your fingers away, let your nose be completely open and your mouth closed. And once again, come back to your low tone and see if the overall effect has changed. And then open your mouth and let the noise come out through your mouth. Hear that nice deep note. Foghorns on the bay. Has anything changed by playing with your nose? What comes out of your mouth? And let it go. Just let your breathing return to its restful pattern. And this time, again, with your mouth open, making your low tone, can you try shutting off one nostril and then shut off the other one and see what effect that has? Is the sound that comes out of your mouth the same with your left nostril open or your right nostril or both? So often we think of sound being produced in our mouth or in our throat, but we've got a whole head full of shapes and cavities and possibilities that influence the sounds that we make. Now, maybe some of you, particularly the females in the room, might have been told that little girls don't squeal, but could you please take the permission to make the highest sound that you can? And have you got a reference on that? Okay, this time with your mouth closed, can you let the sound, the high sound, come out your nose? Yeah, the mosquitoes have arrived. Okay, try closing off one nostril. High tone through your nose, through half your nose. Try the other side. Swat it, quick. Once again, can you compare? Does shutting off one nostril have a bigger effect on the volume or the quality of the sound than the other? Work out which side could maybe benefit from a little bit of help. High tone through half your nose. See if you can pick the one that's not as efficient. And what can you change? How can you encourage, either consciously or unconsciously, the little mosquito to become stronger? And when you think you're gradually training him to sing a bit better, check back with the other side, seeing if you've managed to match them. Mouth's closed. You're endeavouring to find an equal kind of sound through both nostrils with your high tone. Take a rest. Now we know that ATM is about doing non-habitual things in unfamiliar positions to help us be able to move better. To be able to speak and sing better, we're going to do non-habitual things in unfamiliar positions. And notice what difference it makes at the end. So coming back just a little bit more to your mouth closed, high tone through the nose. Just check now, closing one nostril, closing the other. Have you managed to equalise the sound a little bit more? And what effect does that have when you let both nostrils be open? This is fantastic. Can you go any higher? Ultrasonic, shatter the plastic cup on the front table. And leave it. Just rest. Come back to making your low tone with your mouth open. Has anything changed? Oh, wow. Can you hear the difference? Okay, continuing with mouth open, low tone. Try shutting off one nostril. Notice if that has any effect on the sound. Try the other one. Can you do anything to make them more equal if they're not? Okay, pause. Is anything changing in your breathing with all this closing off your nose and alternating between mouth and nose exhalations? Okay, this time would you close your right nostril, please? And then can you glide from your low tone to your high tone and back to your low tone with your mouth closed? Give it a good run. Sounds like the banshee's out in the passageway at the end of the day. Swap nostrils. Notice if there's any difference in the range or the quality, the volume. Okay, let it go. When Moshe taught this lesson, it was at this point he said, you can see that many people are starting to blow their nose into a tissue. That means the sinuses of their noses are starting to clear. There are many people who suffer a lifetime from sinusitis because they do not use that nostril while speaking with their voice. The sinuses are always closed while they speak. These exercises are necessary to open them. Do this instead of having operations. It's much better and improves the voice. We'll give it to you later. Okay, coming back to open mouth and low tone. Notice what's changing now. Let's hear the foghorns. Okay, it's beginning to sound a little bit more like an ashram. Okay, and so with your mouth open, can you start to move between your low tone and your high tone? You could go in a few steps, or you can glide all the way through. Come on, there's lots of noise now. It's safe to join in. So apart from your self-consciousness beginning to dissipate a little bit, what's changing in terms of allowing you to produce the voice that you have now? Do you feel different parts of you joining in? Do you feel the vibration in other parts of your head or your face, your throat, your chest? And so if we now go back to that verse that you spoke to your partner at the beginning, but this time say it with your mouth closed. So your lips stay together. Your teeth keep touching. Speak it out. I need to hear all these beautiful poems or songs that you're reciting. You could just say it. It doesn't need to be sung at this stage. And just think about at what distance is the person that you're saying it to standing? So could you imagine that you now want to say it to someone that's halfway across the room? And now would you say it to someone who's at the far end of the room? All right, and maybe they're actually out in the foyer. Come on, give it a go. See if you can tell them all the way out there. Okay, let it go. Do you have any sense of what you did to change the volume? Where did you do that? A lot of it happened in your intention and your imagination, but some of it must have happened in your body as well. Okay, this time allow your mouth to open and your jaw and your teeth to move, and say your verse to yourself, just as if you were lying beside yourself. But notice what changes in terms of the tone of your voice, the clarity of your speaking. Off you go. And so just rest. So let your face be soft and your breath flow gently. And then one more time, can you open your mouth and make your low tone? Notice if anything's changed now. And go to your high tone. And then close your mouth and do your low tone through your nose. And your high tone through your nose. And check, close off one nostril and then the other, and see if there's more sense of similarity perhaps than when you started. Okay, and let's come back to your quotation again. This time, please keep your lips closed, but your teeth and your jaw can move. See what difference that makes to saying your verse, maybe to someone who's on the mat next to you, or that sort of distance. You don't actually need to say it to them, just in your imagination of the distance. Okay, and then would you say your quotation again, but this time keep your teeth together. You can let your mouth and your lips move around your teeth. So what do you notice as the difference between speaking with your lips closed and speaking with your teeth closed? Is one more intelligible than the other? Yep. Is one more familiar than the other? And so if you really wanted to speak incredibly clearly, perhaps to someone in a noisy environment, which would be more important, moving your lips or moving your teeth? Okay, and so once again, with your teeth closed, but able to use your lips, say your quotation, but notice how the air flows up through your throat onto the back of your teeth. Can you feel your teeth actually vibrating as you make the sound that you're doing your best to shape into words with your lips? Moshe assures us that people who speak well have teeth that shake while they talk. Okay, let it go, let everything rest. Maybe you could just notice, are there parts of you that feel alive from the vibration that are particularly in your image at the moment? And then make the low tone with your mouth open, but can you make it in the shape of an ooh? A big, deep ooh. And can you feel the air coming up through your mouth onto the back of your teeth as the air comes out? Okay, and then come back to your verse one more time. Say it with your mouth, using your lips and your teeth and your jaw, having your nostrils open. Notice what's changing now as you say your words. Come back to your low tone, and can you make it an E? Can you feel how you change the shape of your mouth to make a different sound? And if instead of saying E, you wanted to say ah, what changes? Can you keep the R as low as the E? Or does it change the tone? And can you try that with your mouth closed? See if you can really sense what's changing in shape inside your mouth, your palate and your throat to make a difference between the R and the E. Do you have to move your head? Is there a different position of your chin or your eyes? As you move between E and R. And then move to the high tone and notice which sound, which vowel is easier. What have you automatically chosen? Okay, many people have begun with the high E. Can you make a high R? How do you change the shape when it's a high tone? Okay, let it go. Remember at the beginning when you lay down, you counted with your mouth closed. Can you do that again? So take a breath, count with your mouth closed on the way out, making sound. How long is your breath now? Do it a couple of times. And turn off your voice. Just take a moment to notice how you're lying. How you sense your breath. Which parts feel as though they're part of the movement of breathing. Which parts have the echo of the sounds. And then quietly, when you're ready, you could roll over and come back up into the world. Go and find your partner. And once again, say your verse. Notice how it's different. Make sure you both have a turn to say your verse, listen to the differences. And then you can take a moment just to talk about what you notice, what you observe in each other, and then a brief break.